Okay, here's my follow-up review on my Canyon Dude 8.0. Had this bike now about 6 weeks. I think I got about a little under 300 miles logged into it. So I guess overall, we'll start with some of the things that are kind of minor dislikes about the bike. They're nothing really serious, but a couple of things that I found so far that aren't perfect. First one is kind of just a cosmetic thing. If you look at the top here, there's a black glossy paint on the top, and I think I mentioned it in my first video. I think it's kind of blotchy. I contacted Canyon about it. They said it's just the way that the appearance is, and that their customers like it. It's just a clear coat over the raw carbon finish. Not a big issue, I guess. I don't really have a major problem with it, other than I just think it cosmetically could look nicer if they would have put a gloss black finish on there and made it look more consistent. But I guess that's the way it's supposed to be, and we can be happy with it the way it is. It's not a major issue. The second thing is the chainstay has a protector on it. It's just a glued on piece of like a rubber material, and I was starting, it's covered up now, but right about here, about where your heel would hit the back of the chainstay, I think I was starting to peel up that chainstay protector. So use this heavy duty, it's basically a real heavy duty electrical tape before on some of my other bikes for chainstay protectors. So I just put that down on there. So again, not a deal breaker by any means, but something I did encounter. And I guess the third thing is that you've got this they put the Shimano cassette back here, and it's I think, except for the biggest two cogs, are all individual cogs, and those tend to dig into the free hub body, and it's an aluminum free hub body. So I did try to take it apart. It's all starting to get pretty gulled up with just a couple hundred miles when I took it apart. So imagine long term that could be an issue. The good news is that DT Swiss hubs are pretty well serviceable. A lot of the parts are available, and I did some checking online. You can get an XD SRAM driver body for this hub. It's a DT Swiss Big Ride 370, so it's not their famous 350 hub, but it has a 3-pulse system instead of the ratchet system, and you can get the driver for it. I think it was like $34. I saw it online, and then you could upgrade the cassette to a SRAM cassette, which I think are far superior to the Shimano ones. But anyway, they had to cut corners in some places to keep this bike price under $2,000, or right at the $2,000 mark. So those are kind of the only things I've found that are annoyances so far with the bike. One more was I did have some like derailleur cable rattle. I kind of just pulled little more tension on those cables, and that noise went away. I haven't had any problem with it since. So that's it for really the negatives. Let's talk about the positives on it. The wheel set, I guess, is I think a big selling point for this bike. The DT Swiss wheel set. You got very nice light wheels. Like I said, you got the solid, durable, reliable DT Swiss hubs, and I did set these up tubeless. Just got some of the Sun Ringley, I think it's 78 millimeter wide tape. Put one time around wrap on it, and aired up the tires, and they snap on the beads pretty hard. I don't think you'd have any problems with them coming off, even if you drop your pressures way low. I've had them down to probably 3 or 4 psi, and they're not coming off the beads at that pressure anyway. What else? The fork is nice and stiff. It's very light. I've had it out. The headset bearings are sealed. They're standard Cane Creek. I think they were Series 40 bearings. The AFEC crank set is nice. It's got the direct mount chain rings. It comes with a 28, and I think that's about the right gearing with the 1142 cassette for trail riding and for winter riding. You really need that lower gear ratio for getting through some of the thicker snow. It really takes some power to get through that. I think in the summer months I may go with a 30 or a 32 tooth chain ring, but it's pretty easy to swap it out. You remove that crank bolt, and you need a puller, but you pull the crank off. You need a bottom bracket tool, get a lock ring off there, and then you can just pull that chain ring off, put the new one in, swap it out. What else can we talk about? I haven't changed the saddle or the seat post. They're fine. Actually, I kind of like the saddle. It's not. I was expecting to replace it by now, but it's. I guess feels pretty comfortable for me anyway. The bar and stem, I'm going to keep them as well. There's nothing, no issue with that. And I did swap out the trigger shifter for a grip shift, SRAM grip shift, and Ergon grips. I've only had them on for about a week. I really like that for the quickness of the shifting, and being able to, especially once you get through a snowbank or something, you're able to, dump a lot of gears and go through the cassette pretty quick. So I like that a lot. As far as the brakes are, they're not the best Shimano hydraulic brake, but they're acceptable, and they're certainly a lot better than a mechanical disc brake. I would say they are a little more grabby than I've got Shimano XT brakes on my cross country mountain bike, and those seem to have a little better modulation, but I mean they're not horrible. They do the job and they work. The derailleur itself, the NX derailleur, is it functions well. I think it shifts pretty crisp and clean. The jockey pulleys have bushings in them instead of ball bearings, but those are always replaceable. And I think $25 and you're into the ball bearing jockey wheels. So that's pretty much what I've encountered so far. The cable routing. Some people on the forums kind of asking about routing a dropper post, and you have really two options. It is got a routing here for the front derailleur, but you can route your dropper post through there too. You put route it in through the top and go down through the down tube, and it's wide open through here. You can go up through the seat tube, and I think that would work adequate for mounting your dropper post. There is if you do run a front derailleur, there is a alternate method back here. It's maybe a little bit dark, but right in this area there's a plug that you can put your dropper post routing up through the seat tube, and you'd have to piggyback it along your brake line up to your bars. But that's how they've got it laid out for routing a dropper post. Other than that, the bike is pretty much stock, other than, like I said, the grips and the shifter that I purchased. And yeah, I've been riding it for, like I said, about 6 weeks now. Had about 3 weeks of some snow on the ground. It melted mostly since then, but had some varying conditions from probably 3 inches of heavy wet snow, and then it got cold and it crusted over, so got out riding on some of that. And I just amazed with the traction that you have with the big tires on a fat bike. Again, it's not been super deep snow yet, but it takes a lot of energy to get through it. But I mean, you can climb some of the steeper climbs. I spun out a few times, but for the most part, I climb most of the stuff I do in the summertime without issue. So having a great time with the Canyon Dude. Hoping to get many years of enjoyment out of it. I hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you.